Good evening. Vice Chair Tony would like to recognize a special guest.
Mr. Ray, Lord, we thank you for the wonderful privilege that we have to live here in Rutherford County. We thank you, God, for these leaders who are assembled here, and we pray, Father, that you would grant them your wisdom, knowledge, and understanding as they make decisions that guide our community. We also pray for safety and protection for our law enforcement officers, firefighters, and first responders. And Lord, we lift up the hurting and needy in our community and pray that you would minister your grace to them. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen.
Call this meeting to order. Welcome everybody. The first item on our agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand. Chair Francis, would you please lead us?
Please join me.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Welcome everybody. Next item on our agenda is the agenda approval. Motion to approve. Second. Got a motion, second, any discussion? You're going to call a vote. All in favor of the question, raise your right hand. Any opposed likewise? The next item on our agenda is public comments. This is the time that the public has a chance to come speak to the board. And no one to assign it, there's no assignment tonight.
We have Leslie Huntley.
My name is Leslie Huntley. I reside in Polk County, but for 10 years my daughter received her mental health services in Rutherford County and was active at St. Francis Episcopal Church for part of that time. I'd like to tell you that I am very distressed that Rutherford County is considering disengagement with Vaya, because Vaya is moving ahead with programs that are incredibly progressive in terms of integration of health care and mental health. I don't know whether you gentlemen know anything about what they are doing, but it might behoove you to find out. My daughter might be alive today had we had integrated care in our system. I am vice chair of the Vaya CFAC. I forgot to tell you that. And that's all I have to say, but please, before you finalize this plan of disengagement, look into and compare the pros. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Teresa Panther.
My name is Teresa Panther, and this is in reference to a driveway and driveway. What seems to be on the county. Driveways and driveways. And we're just trying to find out how we can get exclusive use for only residents and
Can't hear.
and services several times. I've seen pictures. Have some copies maybe out.
Yes, ma'am, please.
Maybe someone contact us myself.
Nancy Baker.
My name is Nancy Baker. I am a board member of Vaya Health. I am the chair of the Consumer and Family Advisory Committee, but most important, I am a mother. As a board member, I am deeply concerned about the impact the proposed disengagement from Vaya would have on members. The men, women, and children receiving services in Rutherford County deserve stability in their behavioral health care. Any changes, whether it is a different provider or a different service, is disruptive and could cause setback in a person's recovery and treatment. There are 2,779 Rutherford County residents currently receiving Medicaid or state-funded mental health, substance use, and intellectual and developmentally disabled services from Vaya. 634 of those members have complex needs and work with a care coordinator from Vaya. These care coordinators help make sure the members receive the right care in the right amount at the right time. So much trust is built between a member and a care coordinator. Being reassigned to a different care coordinator or losing services altogether could be traumatizing for a member. As the chair of CFAC that represents Rutherford County, I am an advocate for individuals who receive services through Vaya's network. Nothing about us without us is a familiar phrase in the advocacy world, but we believe it is much more than a slogan. Members and their family have a right to participate in decisions about their health care. We look to the elected officials as allies who not only have other valued members' insights and experiences, but also invite members to be at the table when considering decisions that affect them. Our concern is that, as far as we know, there was no individual who excuse me, there was no individual who was and helped take part in making these decisions that led to this dissolution from Vaya, or this disengagement, excuse me. As a member, as a mother, I am worried. My son, who many of you know, live here in Rutherford County, and right there he is. So look close at that picture. That's my son that you guys are making decisions about. And he receives his services through Vaya. He likes where he lives. He is happy with his providers and his benefits from the services he receives from Vaya. What my son does not like is change. This decision, if it is approved, will set off a chain reaction of change that will cause disruption of his services and undue stress. Section 1 of the disengagement plan states that your primary focus is to carry out this process with transparency, commitment to our community, and the involvement of those who will be impacted by change. I am here tonight to ask when that will begin. As I leave you tonight, please look at the picture of Jerry, and if you don't do anything else, remember two things. He is a resident and a consumer of this county. And most of all, he is a registered voter. And as an elected official, you owe him the answer to how and why this decision was made. This is my son's life that you're playing with. And I beg you to think about it. Look at him. I'm a mother, and I'm not only worried, I'm scared. I'm scared for his services because his providers are not going to be with partners. So you tell me how I'm going to be able to keep him in Rutherford County. I'll have to move him. And he's lived here all of his life, and that's not fair. You guys made the decision. And you never went to talk to him. Do you even know where Tri-City Group Home is? Well, you might want to go visit it, because there's where your IDD people are. Thank you.
Cynthia Clayton.
Gentlemen, I'm Gail Clayton, and I'm here to ask a question of you, at least for consideration. This is a time for politics. There's an election tomorrow, but I don't think that health care should be a part of politics. When I looked up on the web today, who was behind or working with partners, I discovered that there are two lobbyists. Those lobbyists are Debbie Clary and Mike Hager. Both have represented this county. They are Republicans. They are concerned citizens. But I don't think we should be playing politics with health care. Both of them have partners as listed as their client. 4 of you I know are Republican, not that that makes a difference, but in times of politics we need to consider what's best for all of the people and not be led by lobbyists.
Rick French.
Thank you, gentlemen. My name is Rick French. I'm Vaya Board Chair. I'm also County Manager in Alexander County. I've been County Manager for like 10 years there. Tonight, I'm here for you. I would like to request a meeting between representatives of Rutherford County and Vaya Health between now and the 60-day period, if possible, and would like to request that tonight. I appreciate the opportunity to be here. This is a very serious situation, and we'd like the opportunity to speak to you about it. Thank you very much.
Madge Flack.
name is Madge Flat. I live over there next to Food Line. And I'm concerned about a lot of issues that's been going over there on my property, the water property. The water have been damaging my property. It's flooded 4 times now. I went to different places trying to get somebody to come over there and be concerned about the problem. Nobody, everyone I went to, sent me different places. Spin data, relevant. Nobody never came. So I decided, since nobody's not coming, to take care of this issue, they're gonna have to be another step to it. I had to throw out furniture. I moved furniture today. Water up to my knees, where they piped it in and let it all run down there on me. And whoever did that construction up there at the end of the road, that was unacceptable, because they piped all the water on me, and nobody never come back to see when I went different places, to see how to fix the problem. And I did not want it to go this far, but since it's gone this far, I'm not backing down this time. Because before, I backed down, throw away stuff, let it go. Nobody seemed to care. Here in Rutherford County, we need to start caring about one another. We need to start loving one another. And let one another know we love each other, no matter what it is, or what color you are, or where you come from. God created us all, and He created us all somebody, and everybody got feelings. I know I have. I know y'all have. And what we need to do is get that problem fixed. I do not want no more pipes piped across that road on my property. That's a fair thing. What water's on my property, I will take care of, because God bless you. What water's on the other man's property, they need to take care of that, because God bless them with it. Because now I'm tired, and I'm so fed up
That was
having
2
to throw
meetings
away
ago.
all of my furniture. I carried off 2 loads today. I gotta get somebody to come in there, cut my wall off where it's already molded, sofa up, and put, and clean all that mess up. Y'all wouldn't wanna live in it, would you? But y'all wanna live in something like that and get molded? No. And I wouldn't want you to live. If I had the choice for it not to happen to you, believe me, I would not let it happen to you. I would not. Because you're human. And you got human feelings. And God made you somebody. When He made you good. And I'm looking for the good. And not the bad. So thank you all. I appreciate y'all's nice help. Appreciate y'all letting me speak this afternoon.
Thank you.
May God
Thank you, ma'am.
bless you all.
Thank you very much.
Pat, yes.
I
gentlemen, thank you for allowing me to speak. I'm a Vaya board member. I'm the Central Region CFAC Chair. I serve on the state CFAC and the North Carolina Statewide Independent Living Council. So I know a little bit about what I'm talking about. I'm a little bit worried about this disengagement thing. I really think that I'm the picture of what inclusion can do for somebody. And I've had a lot of help from a lot of people, including Vaya. Tomorrow's election day, and I truly believe in the nothing about us without us. People with disabilities are the largest minority in the world. Can you imagine an election if we all registered and voted? Many of us already do vote, but certainly not enough, and maybe we need to step that up. We would vote for inclusion, which would be part of solutions, part of community, hope for tomorrow, feeling valued as citizens. We would vote for respect. It would decrease the shames of our illness. It would decrease negative behaviors in the community and decrease fear of treatment. We would vote for dignity. It would promote a life of self-determination, provide peer support, and restore people's self-respect, self-esteem. Rutherford County, I really don't know what's best for Rutherford County, partners or Vaya. Who knows? Your citizens, your consumers, your family members, your professionals, maybe you do. I don't know. But I do know this, lives are at stake. Client stability is at stake. Recovery is at stake. And even the community impact is at stake. And if you do this wrong, lives are going to be lost. Why what I say matters. And it probably don't matter all that much to you right now. But I was born here. I spent half my childhood being raised here in Rutherford County. I still have family here with disabilities. One of them a service member that's been to Afghanistan several times with PTSD now. My first adverse childhood events and experiences happened here in Rutherford County. I shop here. I don't live that far up the road, and I could go to Asheville, or I could go to Hickory, or I could go to a variety of places. But I come down here to Jay's about once a month, and I spend about $100 or $150, and I buy my meat, put it in the freezer, and use it all month long. Not only do I shop at Jay's, Ollie's is my favorite store. I spend anywhere from $50 a month, sometimes $500 for my living room comes from Ollie's. My household buys vehicles from this county. When we go to look at a new car, this is the county we come to first. Maybe it's because I'm from here originally, and I've always thought of Rutherford County as a special place. You know, usually we buy a new car or a new truck. It's usually somewhere in $25,000 to $30,000 range. And we don't buy one every year or two, but every 4 or 5 years, somebody in my household buys a vehicle. And most of the time, our dollars come here. So that should matter, because if we stop shopping here because we don't feel valued as citizens, maybe some of your businesses are going to wonder where that customer went. But the effects of inclusion, they go so far. You know, after years of stigma and exclusion, I'm fortunate to have been able to experience the effects of inclusion in the last few years at a level I could never have imagined a few years ago. And I have to say that Vaya Health has been a huge part of this inclusion for me, not only here and at the Vaya level, but at the state level. And, you know, I was at the Statewide Independent Living Council last Thursday and Friday meeting in Burlington. Some of us are even talking about going to Washington. So, you know, I don't know that I'm going to go, but I'm thinking about it. And a few years ago, I just could never have imagined even being 20 miles down the road speaking to you folks. So it matters. What you say matters. So I want to know this. I hope you grant Vaya folks, Rick French and the board, and the folks, which I'm part of the board, I hope you grant, you all sit down and talk with Vaya. I want to know, you know, what do you feel Vaya should have done differently in Rutherford County as a board member and a CFAC chair for the Central Region and a statewide CFAC member? I want to know, you know, we cannot fix what we've not been informed of. Rutherford County matters to me. And, you know, if there's anything that you feel that I, the Vaya board, the Vaya employees, Vaya CFAC members, or anyone else at Vaya or connected to Vaya needs to know, then I'd like to hear about it. You know, the state sent me to this leadership academy for the last year or so, and trying to teach people with disabilities how to be leaders in the community and how to make good decisions. So I made this decision to be here tonight. This is probably one of the biggest things I've done to practice this to this point, because I just finished it a month or two ago. But thank you for listening. You know, I request this become part of the minutes, and I really feel that what happened here, you know, I'm unaware, but, you know, most time for inclusion, people talk to people before they vote, not after the fact. And I'm including something on the President's New Freedom Initiative and Commission, which I also went to one of those meetings in Washington a good many years ago. So thank you for allowing me to address you, and I hope that we have further discussion.
Thank you.
It might be this too.
You want to take a look there?
Juanita Flagg.
Yes, my name is Juanita Flagg. I'm here with my mother, Madge Flagg. She spoke earlier concerning the problem that she's having there at 108 Railroad Avenue, right across from the food line. Before the flooding started, we went to DOT in Spindale, and we tried to reach out and let them know that we think there may be an issue with the construction and all that was going at the top of the road. They also installed a crosswalk there and put larger pipes underground there, which feed all the water in my mother's direction to her home. So I was concerned. So we went to DOT and informed them. We came to Rutherford to try to speak to someone there, but unfortunately we was unable to. So unfortunately on February the 13th, there was a major rain. My mother received 4 feet of water in her basement, and the water was a contributing factor from the water that drains from Food Line, the water that drains down from RS Central, the water that drains from Advanced Auto Store. And when they came in and did the new piping, they closed off the, as you turn in the driveway, they closed off the right side, but left the left side open, which diverts all the water in my mother's direction. So the water was jumping the railroad track coming on into my mother's property. I have pictures, I have documentations of everyone that we spoke with, the time we spoke with them, a brief summary of what the conversation was about, and David Odom, he did come out and speak with us about the issue. And at one point, there was a movement going on concerning getting this situation solved. But now it has completely stopped, and they has not fulfilled what they had told us, that they would come up with a resolution to that situation. And as of yet, it has not been completed. I would like to schedule a meeting with someone so I can show them the pictures, the documents. They can see for themselves how the water jumps the track and flows in my mother's home. As of yet, no one has gotten back in touch with us to let us know what's the final solution to this situation. And that's my main concern, the final solution. As I stated, they did do some work, but I also informed them and let them know that they still haven't solved the problem. So we need a permanent fix to this problem, not a Band-Aid, not a pacify, but a permanent solution to this problem, so my mother will not be flooded out again. Since this been occurring, my mother has lost over 60 pounds. She can't sleep at night when it get ready to rain. She's on pins and needles, worrying, is her house gonna be flooded out again? So I think as she's been a great citizen of the community, outstanding citizen, never caused any trouble, always paid her tax, and I can't understand, why is it that she's being treated like this? I can't understand it. It's like, no, everyone is closing a blind eye and pointing the finger at this one and pointing the finger at that one. Relton point the finger at Spindale, Spindale point the finger at Relton, DOT point the finger at Relton, Spindale, Forest City, the trail, the rail, they point their finger at Spindale, or Relton, or Forest City. So it's just keep running around and around in a circle. So we need to come together, have a meeting and solve this issue. And I would certainly appreciate it. Thank you for your time and allowing me this opportunity to come before you and speak with you. I also know that there have been some funds set aside for flood victims, and if you all feel that she qualifies in that category, whatever we need to do to make this right for my mother, an 88-year-old lady who lives alone, who be terrified at night when it rains. We need to solve this issue. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Paul Elkins.
Mr. Chairman, Councilman, my name is Tom Elkins. I am not a board member of Vaya, don't own any stock, not paid, but I am a voice for the nameless and the faceless individuals in the county who they're not capable of speaking tonight. My son is one. He requires 24-hour care. 20-year resident of Rutherford County, and I can tell you that during that 20 years that Vaya has been the best overarching healthcare coverage network, and we've dealt with all of them for 20 years. And many have been a nightmare. Every time you change, there is challenges that come with that change that not only impact the individual that needs the care, but it impacts everyone throughout the community. I guess the first thing that I was challenged with, and before I say anything, I want to say that I honor you, each of you. So anything that I say, I don't want it to be received as personal. But as I got into the country, I didn't even know that this was something that had been voted on that was impacting me, my family, my son, until about 3 o'clock today when I opened a letter in the mail that came from Vaya, just getting back in the country. So I don't have all of my facts yet. I only had about an hour to do a little bit of research on the web to look at what you had posted. And I guess I was challenged with, number one, your opening statement of purpose, that our primary focus is to carry out this process with transparency and commitment to our community. As I read through the document, I didn't see the transparency. I didn't see the due diligence. I saw the explanations. I saw what was given under each category. And I still do not, my question is, why would you change when they have a 97% satisfaction rate? I can go through and read under the rationale under number 3. You said Partners has routinely demonstrated a high level of consumer engagement when compared to peer programs in the state. But what you didn't say is that Vaya has a higher penetration rate than does Partners. What you didn't say is the EQR is higher than Vaya. What you didn't put in there is that it's going to cost considerably more to the caregivers, because they were the only company this last year that did not raise the reimbursable rate, which means that I'm in a program where I am the EOR. I am now capable of going out and hiring, because getting skilled and quality caregivers is very difficult. And if you move forward with this, it will mean that every person who is working to take care of somebody who has a need or a disability in this county will immediately be reduced in their pay, because they will not be paid as much as Vaya pays. Partners is the only company last year that did not raise their reimbursables. And so you will be bringing a hardship upon not only families who have children and loved ones who need this care, but you're also going to be causing a hardship for those who provide the care. And I can tell you that in 20 years, trying to find good caregivers in this county and retaining them is very difficult. And so it was a huge blessing for us when Vaya came on the scene. It was a huge blessing for me now walking through in this new program to be able to pay somebody what they're worth, to pay somebody to provide adequate health care and care for my son. And I know that that's multiplied by almost 3,000 people in the community. And so I guess the challenge as a father, as a legal guardian, as someone who wants to be a voice for those who have no voice, is really what is the motivation? What is the motivation for the change? And I guess also as a former businessman years ago, in the healthcare environment that we're in, I would ask the question, if due diligence was done, then why was Vaya not at least discussed and brought into a negotiation? In an environment today where everything is negotiated, why did you not at least contact Vaya? And when they contacted you, why did you not allow them at least an ear to discuss whatever the issues were, and then to move into a negotiation to see if they could at least equal or do better than what Partners has offered you? Because the service and the quality of what this county is receiving right now through Vaya, on all statistical bases, is greater than what Partners has to offer. At least that's my initial 1 hour research that I've been able to do on the web. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr.
Jerry Rice.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Jerry Rice, I do advocacy work for special kids and have been in Rutherford County for a long time. I actually got about 15 members of the family that lives here and been here for years too. I would like to say that folks in the room is bragging on Vaya. They need to brag on somebody that's trying to do something different. If you look back on the history of 2001, when the reform started, they've been changing ever since. The state don't care about you, your children, or anybody in your community. It's about the bottom line. And if you are having to look at difficult times and make your decisions, you need to be looking at it like the legislators do. They look at the bottom line. If you want to know how value works, look at the bottom line. That's how they work. I've been there, and you got videos. You can go and look at my videos if you like. They don't even give you an opportunity to get their agendas online, their information online. What about that? Out of 6 of these places, MCOs, they don't even give the information out. So what kind of closed-minded people is that? I've got some hard things to say, but they're truthful. They got $1.5 million that they spent on their renaming of their organization to Vaya. What did that help any consumer for? Could you take $1.5 million and do a lot for services? They like to run with the big dogs. Vaya does. Did you get called about the plan? Did you get that press release about them joining up with Trillion and the other organization? Did you get that? No, they probably didn't. They don't want you to know anything, but they want you to tell them everything. You go to their meetings, you know what you get? A closed session. What else is discussed in the public? You can probably talk to the people on the street and get that. So, my point is, if you're going to do the business of the people, you're going to have to talk to your legislators. Vaya is in the bed with the big dogs and the cats. The secretary, they went into closed session before you got into your room about this business here today. They went in closed session. I didn't even know about it. They wouldn't even let me in the room. You know why? Because it's confidential. This ain't confidential. I'm glad I am here to support you commissioners on what you're doing for your people. 2,700, I think it can be took care of really well. I think we need to look at the consumers, the people. Why you don't? They cut services ever since they've been in business. They have cut it. They cut it to the legislators was going to give, 4 years and they're going to be out of business. You know what happened at the next meeting? God, they spent about $10 million or better and started putting in programs. It took the legislators threatening to discontinue them before they moved. So when we start bragging about people and making Vaya look like some king in the room, we better take second thought because you commissioners are doing an excellent job to offer this to your people outside. Because up in Buncombe County is paying multi-million or several $1 million above anything that Vaya is doing. And if it wasn't for Buncombe County, Vaya wouldn't look too good either. So I'm here to advocate that you get on with the business and move on. Just because they want to sit down in the room, you know what they want it for? It's not about the people. It's about to get one up on you to find out what you know so they can take it back to the secretary. Thank you.
Brett Melton.
Good evening, I'm Rhett Melton, the CEO of Partners Behavioral Health Management, and Mr. Chair and Commissioners, thank you for the chance to have a few minutes on your schedule. This is my 7th time over in the county in the last 2 months, and I've had a lot of time to spend talking to residents in the community or providers in the community and stakeholders. And first, I would like to say that the passion that you've heard tonight from some of the family members is real. I mean, that's what we do every day. That's the population that Vaya and Partners both, our mission is to serve. So I appreciate the fact that members and family members take the chance to come before you and express real concerns and real issues so that we can all know where the concerns are. So as this transition goes forward, we know what to make sure that we don't let fall through the cracks. The worst thing that could happen is for something through this transition to fall through the cracks. And what I wanted to do is just make a couple of comments about the things that I've heard and seen around the county. As I've had a chance to talk with some of the providers and some of the stakeholders, some of the community organizations, I think Ms. Flack, who was not actually speaking about this issue, said it best. She said, we should love on each other and we should help one another. And when I've talked to your residents in the community, your providers, that's what they're saying. They're talking about the pride in Rutherford County, the strength of Rutherford County, and how they want things to happen here in Rutherford County. And when we've had the chance to talk in the past and had the chance to converse at some of the past meetings, I think what I've described about Partners is what our style is. And my purpose in conversations with you guys in the past has been to tell you what Partners is, not to say anything negative about Vaya. I've never said anything at this podium or any other forum, and I'm not going to about Vaya. I'm only going to tell you what Partners does and what we're about to help you make a decision. But one of the things that I've heard throughout the county is people want to decide things here around the table. They want there to be programs locally to make life better for the families and the members that are here. They want choice of providers. They want there to be a network of providers that they can pick and choose and have adequate representation from. So that's one of the things that I think has been important as we've gone through, and one of the things that I think speaks directly to Partners' value. And I think as you were doing your due diligence, because I heard from some of our community partners who had been contacted by Rutherford County peers to say, what is it? Tell us about the relationship that you have with Partners in your counties. And I think that's what you heard, is community connectedness and community focus and doing things like Ms. Flack said, solving things locally, and let's making sure that we take care of people here in the local community. One of the things that I want to make sure that I say again, because I don't think that I could say this enough, and I want to make sure that any information that gets circulated out there to the contrary is mitigated. Partners is absolutely committed to making sure that all the providers that serve consumers here in this county come and stay with Partners. You heard one specific organization mentioned, like one particular group home. That organization is operated by a vendor, a provider that we have a great relationship. I've already talked to them about that specific home. They want to have that home in Partners Network, and we want that home to be in Partners Network as well. So as we talk about, one of the commitments again was making sure that you hear that all the providers that serve your consumers can come and join the Partners Network, and that's one of the commitments. The second commitment I want to make sure that we talk about is the commitment to the families and the consumers that you've heard about and you'll continue to hear about, is that we're looking to grow services, we're looking to expand services. We're not going to have services lost for the individual members through this transition, whether it be service authorizations or who they're getting care from or how long they're getting care. Our commitment has been to you and will continue to be to you that we're going to have those services continue without interruption. Change is hard, change is difficult, but oftentimes change can be an improvement. And one of the things that I have heard, again, from some of the conversations that we've had in the county, is that the possibility for expansion, the possibility for choice, the possibility for greater collaboration is something, again, I think many of the people in the community here are wanting to take advantage of. So we look forward to continuing to work with you. I look forward to the opportunity, along with the county manager, who was talking about having public forums where we can talk collectively with members of the public, consumers and providers, where they can hear from partners directly and not from some third party, where they can hear us talk about our vision and our values and what we're committed to, where they can hear how we're integrated with the community, how we're developing unique and innovative programs in the community. So I appreciate the chance to be here, and I look forward to continuing to work with you.
Thank you, sir. Any other comments? Or allow, I'd like to make a few comments. Welcome, everybody. On April 9th of this year, the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners passed a resolution stating that Rutherford County seeks to disengage from Vaya Health and to realign with partners, behavioral health management, recognizing that North Carolina General Statute 122C-115A3 empowers a county to choose a local management entity, management care organization, known as LMEMCO, subject to approval of the Secretary of the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services. We cited at our time reason for doing so, and the gentleman mentioned that tonight as well. And I'm not going to go through those because he did such a great job, but but some of the things and it's on our website. But for lack of time, we'll continue on. Recognize this is a very lengthy process dictated by the North Carolina General Statute, that there would be ample time to engage our citizens and stakeholders in this process. It was critical that the county start the clock. Hear what I said. We'll engage our citizens and stakeholders. We started the clock, and we were following the law and the statutes. Since that time, we created a link to our county website to request that our citizens and providers and other community stakeholders review our alignment plan and to share their comments. That is what we're intending to do. We want to hear from our consumers, our citizens. The information has been shared on our county Facebook page, our website, covered in the local newspaper, and distributed to the members of Rutherford County Community Health Council and Rutherford County Behavioral Health Coalition. Now, I received a letter, a certified letter, signed by the Vaya Health Board Director and Chairman Rick French, dated April 23rd. I'm curious if the County Commissioners of Alexander County, and the Commissioner of Alexander County are aware that their county manager addressed an official letter to a seated Rutherford County Commissioner filled with errors and omissions. A letter, I might add, that was copied to the NCDHSS Secretary, Dr. Manny Cohen. The Board of County Commissioners is also aware that the Vaya Health CEO, Brian Ingram, mailed a letter to consumers of mental health services in our county, Rutherford County, on May 4th. By taking this action, Mr. Ingram demonstrates his clear disregard and disrespect to Rutherford County and our legislative protected right to realign to a different LMEMCO. It is concerning that the tone of this letter is intended to create fear and anxiety for the county's most vulnerable families rather than highlight what you believe are Vaya's strengths. I have phone calls and letters and communication with citizens since this letter hit. I even have one letter that I know they went back to them that stated, hey, you told me that I wouldn't get my services. I went and checked. I still could have my services. And I believe this is circumventing the process. This is a local process. This is a process to be made by those in Asheville, or those in Asheville, or Raleigh, or let's see what I call them, policy makers. Those are enough part of our county. Mr. Ingram provides information in this letter that he's misleading and contradictory to North Carolina General Statute 122C-1015A3. He further cites concerns regarding lack of engagement by county officials with Vaya leadership, yet fails to recognize a member of his own leadership team, which per Vaya's health care website includes the CEO, CFO, General Counsel, Chief Compliance Officer, Chief Medical Officer, Chief Information Officer, Chief Population Health Officer, and Chief Financial Officer, have never attempted to directly engage county officials and members of our membership team since this Board of Commissioners has been in office. 84% of our foster cases are related to substance addiction. We were 27 in the state for the highest counties With an opiate death in 2015, jobs are available in Rutherford County, yet we have one of the highest unemployment rates in North Carolina. 6.2% in February 2018, ranked 18th in the state with the highest unemployment rate, and 30% of our population lives in poverty. I might note that all the counties in the Partners catchment area have the unemployment rate below 5%. It is clear that the top leadership of the Vaya disengaged from Rutherford County long ago before this county decided to execute its right to realign to a different LME and CO. We appreciate that CO Ingram encourages the recipients of his letter to review the realignment plan on our website and to share their comments. But he takes us a step further by encouraging our citizens to share their comments, concerns with the DHS in Raleigh when the relevant general statute clearly lays out the process for comment to our county. We invite our Rutherford County citizens, providers, stakeholders to share your comments with us. We encourage your engagement. We haven't made a decision. We're looking at what's best for our county. But this is being circumvented at this time. We are the elected officials. This is Rutherford County. We're not part of Vaya. We're not part of Raleigh. We're looking at what's best for our community. Rutherford County sees the action of the Vaya CEO Ingram as intentionally adversarial and undermining our county's efforts to follow the dictates of North Carolina General Statutes 122C-115A3. The Vaya brand and style continues to become more clear for all, and the contrast is evidence. We would prefer if both sides would speak from the facts when they present their point of view, rather than use fear against Rutherford County citizens to scare them to their point of view. At this time, I'd like to take a 5-minute recess before we convene down here in 5 minutes.
Oh, is it 9:30?
Next item on our agenda is public comment. Public comment. After the public comment, next item is all right, we have the consent agenda. Motion approved. Second. Then a motion second. Discussion. And I'll call the question. All in favor, raise your right hand. We're now into commissioner appointments. For those that are new here tonight, we do post our agenda up online on the Rutherford County website, and the numbers and items described are also available as well. The next item is 18-1626, Certificate of Achievement in Financial Reporting. That's the Finance Department. Director Rudd.
Once again, our packet was submitted to Geo Authority for consideration for the Certificate of Excellence. We received notification about 3 weeks ago. And this is the 29th consecutive year, I believe.
Everyone in the room, clap. You know what?
Our team is here.
Let's bring them up there and take a photo. My question, are these gold coins here or what? Say grits. The paper's so slow compared to Next item on our agenda is 181632, the EMS Week proclamation.
Good evening, gentlemen. We'd like to ask you to consider designating May 20th through the 26th of this year as EMS Appreciation Week. I'm going to read a proclamation if I can, that states, whereas emergency medical services is a vital public service, and whereas the members of emergency medical service teams are ready to provide life-saving care to those in need 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And whereas access to quality emergency care dramatically improves the survival and recovery rate of those who experience sudden illness or injury. And whereas the emergency medical service system consists of emergency physicians, emergency nurses, emergency medical technicians, paramedics, firefighters, educators, administrators, and others. And whereas the members of the emergency medical services team, whether career or volunteer, engage in thousands of hours of specialized training and continuing education to enhance their life-saving skills. And whereas it is appropriate to recognize the value and the accomplishments of emergency medical service providers by designating Emergency Medical Services Week. Therefore, we ask to consider recognizing this event by proclaiming the week of May 20th through the 26th as Emergency Medical Services Week with the theme EMS One Mission, One Team, and encourage the community to observe this week with appropriate programs, ceremonies, and activities.
I'd like to make a motion that we accept this proclamation tonight.
Got a motion to second.
As a fellow paramedic, I just want to show my appreciation for everybody that does work. Many of those that are not in emergency services don't realize that 24 hours a day, there is somebody standing by to do whatever needs to be done to help you. And our EMS service is one of those, and we thank everybody that works there, full-time and part-time. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Goodell, for your service to the work.
Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, like The next item on our agenda is 181639, the appointment to the Historic Preservation Commission.
Mr. Robert Hamilton Sr. has applied for the Historic Preservation Commission. Mr. Hamilton is chairman of the board of the African Heritage Museum in Forest City. Now, vacancies have been advertised and applications have been accepted for this commission. And the board may wish to consider approving the appointment of Mr. Hamilton.
Thank you. It's the will of the board.
Make a motion to appoint Mr. Hamilton.
Second.
Got a motion to second. Any discussion?
We appreciate his willingness to serve.
You're going to call a vote. All in favor of the question, raise your right hand. And opposed, likewise. It carries. Thank you for your service. The next item is 181627, the appointment to the Rutherford County Economic Development Association, the C6.
The board received a request to appoint 3 members to the Rutherford County Economic Development Association C6 for the upcoming fiscal year. The bylaws state that one of these 3 members shall be the chairman of the Rutherford County Commission or his or her designee. These vacancies have been advertised and applications have been accepted.
It's the will of the board regarding. I just have to do this.
I'd like to make a motion that we nominate Steve Garrison as one of those board members and let him represent the chair for us.
Do one at a time. Got a motion for Mr. Garrison.
Second.
Got a motion to second. Any discussion?
You will, sir.
Yes. You're going to call votes. All in favor, raise your right hand. We got a new lunch to go to. We have 2 more.
Make a motion, we appoint Terry Hunt. I'll second that.
Is no one going to appoint me? I got a motion and a second. Any discussion? call vote. All in favor of the question, raise your right hand. Thank you. Finally, we have a third person. You guys, it has to be the chairman. It has to be the chairman. This is me. It says it right there. Or doesn't it? Oh. Or mine doesn't. Mine doesn't. Thank you, Steve. We haven't barbecued it. You have a form, just whisper. What's the will of the board for the third seat, guys?
Brian, are you willing to serve?
I don't know. If asked.
Make a motion, Brian King. Sorry.
Got a motion and a second, any discussion? I hate everything. Motion second discussion, any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, likewise. Thank you for your confidence. All right. Thank everyone for your patience too as we work through this. The appointments to Rutherford County Board and Commissions. Hazel?
You have in your agenda a list of terms on Rutherford County boards and commissions that will be expiring on June 30th of this year. You may wish to advertise these vacancies and accept applications, and you can make an appointment at a future meeting. The boards that have terms that are expiring are the Airport Appeals Board, the Broad River Water Authority, Home and Community Care Block Grant Committee, Industrial Facilities and Pollution Control Financing Authority, the Isothermal Community College Board of Trustees, the Juvenile Crime Protection Committee, the Library Board of Trustees, the Planning Commission, the Social Services Board, the Tourism Development Authority, the Transit Advisory Board, and the Workforce Development Board. That's all.
There's no action requested on this. We actually are advertising this tonight, and we'll be on the website.
Yes.
Okay. What I was about to say was, you know, our county runs on our volunteers and those that commit their time and efforts on our committees and boards, in the county government, in our schools, and without them, we wouldn't have the successes we have today. So, and I would ask everyone or anyone that is interested in serving these boards to please do so. We have an application process, and that is so that we know who you are. You know, we have a large county. Everyone has their own circle of friends and who they know at church, but we don't know everyone through all sides of our areas of our county. So this is our way of finding out if there's someone who lives or who works or who maneuvers in a community area that we don't, achieve to attend every day, so to find out who you are that you're interested in serving, so you have the opportunity to serve. Your service is important. So this is just for advertisement right now. No actions or questions. Thank you. Commissioners' reports. Next item is 1644. Tourism Development Authority. Oh, you're about to get busy. Sure.
It's busier, yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, Mr. Garrison, Mr. Williams. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here tonight. We've got a lot of neat things. As Commissioner King says, we're about to get busier. I'm going to run through a quick presentation, kind of give you a financial overview, and then cover some of the projects and things that we're working on, and then, of course, plenty of opportunity for question and answer. So, thank you, Jay. Okay, taking a first look at the financials, this is the April RFF, that's a rolling financial forecast, and what that means is April, May, and June is still projected, we're still working through our month end, but all the way through March is actual. So we're feeling really good about where we're going to wind up the year. So what you have there in the column and the presentation there that you have before you, where it says 17-18 RFF, that is how our board, myself, sees that we're going to finish out the year. And the exciting piece and component of that is you're going to see that we're going to top the 1 million mark for the Oxy tax collection for the first time in Rutherford County history. So we're excited about that. And that top, I'll step out on a limb, we might be pretty darn close to 1.1 when the year's over. So we got a couple of good months to come, and we want to thank you for this county commission board for raising our Oxy tax from 5% to 6%. That started in January, and that's part of the increase that we have here this year. We've got 3 or 4 months of actuals this year that'll be playing out. You'll also see there in the revenue stream, you'll see that we've got partnerships with the towns, all of the towns here in Rutherford County, with Forest City, Spindale, and Chimney Rock, Lake Lure, and Spindale are partnering with the TDA to do our tourism asset development plan, which I'm going to talk about the details later. So I just want to let you know that's what that revenue dollars are there for. We have, skipping on down a little bit under wages and salaries and benefits, you'll notice that we're going to be a little bit over budget. And that's because we did not budget for a full-time marketing director last year. So we were able to retain and move over some fees from our outside agency. And we were able to save a lot of money there and be able to bring on that marketing director. And we'll talk about some of the things that are going on there in a minute. But I just want to let you know, yes, you'll see expenses up in wages, but what you'll see in the next category here under total marketing and advertising, you'll see that we're going to be down a total of 40, when I say down, under budget $45,000 in the marketing and advertising, and the biggest component of that is the streamlining of the marketing communications with the outside vendor and brought all of it in-house. So that's what drove that cost savings. And then you'll see a couple line items there of cost expenses are higher than budget from the website optimization process, which you'll see and hear some good results there in a few moments. And then also our vacation guide, which we'll talk about here in a minute, some additional expenses that increase there. So from there, going in administration and operations, we have focused in all categories to maintain under budget. We've tried to stay under budget, cost streamlining as much as possible for a number of reasons. You can see building repairs and maintenance, biggest reason for that under budget of $18,000 is because our Lake Lure Visitor Center there in Lake Lure is going to be undergoing some major renovations, and that is by the town of Lake Lure. We, the TDA, rent that space from Lake Lure for $1 a year, so they'll be making some major renovations. So some of the improvements that we were going to be putting in there from a tourist perspective, we're holding off on until they get down, but that's the biggest reason that you'll see the under budget item there. Again, we wanted to focus on trying to control costs as much as possible because the exciting news of where we're going is we've got increased expenses. When I say increase, it's not the right word. We went over budget in a number of areas, but a number of great positive areas, exciting areas for Rutherford County. And as you'll see there, we will be, and I'll talk about wayfinding here in just a moment, but we had a wayfinding program that's going to be completed at the end of this year and then first of next year. I'll talk about that in a minute. But then also our strategic plan, which I know each and every one of you are aware of the strategic plan, where we're partnering with the towns, and we expanded the scope of work and partnered with the towns to enhance that county-wide tourism asset development plan. And we'll be hearing about that here in a minute. The bottom line is, and then also the in Forest City, the board has approved to allocate $60,000 in the tourism asset development plan to the bridge over 74, the bridge development that they'll be putting there for their isothermal for the rail trail. That rail trail TDA will be helping put funds into part of that there in Forest City to the tune of $60,000 to help them with the enhancement of that. And rail trails, we all know the rail trail is definitely tourism for Rutherford County. Okay, yes, a lot of over budget expense items, but the good news is the TDA, because of the good years we've been having and costs, we're still going to wind up the year with over $500,000 in our fund balance. Okay, any questions on, comments on where we are with the numbers? Because I do want to go over some of the details of some of the other projects. Okay, but moving along, going into the Rutherford County, our tourism strategic plan, that is the name that we're calling our countywide tourism asset development plan. All the towns of Lake Lure, Spindale, and Rutherford, and Chimney Rock have all formed committees, and they are working diligently on putting together their tourism asset development plan. Each of those communities on May 8th in Lake Lure, you're all invited. Chimney Rock, May 15th, and Spindale on May 21st. Each of those communities, right before their council meetings, will be having open public comments for the public to come in and take a look at what the tourism plan and what the steering committees have put together for that. A lot of exciting, neat projects and things that are all tourism and asset based. And what's really exciting about the tourism asset development that everyone's putting together in the communities is every one of those projects are related to Rutherford County and the quality of life of all of our citizens. They will promote Rutherford County and give us tourism assets, but it will help each and every one of our citizens of Rutherford County from a property value standpoint and from a quality of life. So we're really excited about what that's bringing. But just like any tourism plan, you need funding and implementation. We are in the process, the TDA is in the process of putting together a strategic committee to help Rutherford County identify what we need to have the funding and implementation of our tourism strategic plan to work for Rutherford County. Because all counties, all communities are different. Rutherford County just happens to be different, but the best. And we're going to focus on what is going to work for Rutherford County. So I'm excited about this committee that we're putting together. The committee will be made up of all the towns. We're going to be asking Mr. Garrison to serve on another committee, and then also some other key leadership throughout the county. So that committee will be making recommendations on how the TDA could propose to spend some of this money, but how we work on implementing and funding that plan. So getting a lot of input there. Moving on down the chart there, we're going to talk about the wayfinding program that we've all heard about. Well, it has resurfaced after a year delay. The Rutherford County TDA was unable to reach a consensus and an agreement with JMT. The original poles for our wayfinding signs were too small. Engineered too small. The TDA worked very diligently to come to a resolution with T engineering. We were unable to do that. So the TDA board has agreed and hired ACSM out of Charlotte to install or finish engineering and then also to manufacture and install the rest of the signs. And we've allocated additional funding to get those signs done. So Rutherford County TDA will be working very diligently over the coming months to get all of those signs in the ground. We're going to try to, there's 140 signs throughout the whole county that we'll be working on. We're going to work very hard to at least get Forest City, Spindale, Rutherford, Lake Lure, and Chimney Rock, get those signs in the ground. And if we get more throughout the county in different places, we will. But we're behind the 8 ball. The goal is before WEG comes, before the World Equestrian Games come out here to Polk County, and we're driving people from Polk County to Rutherford County, we want to be able to have those signs in place. So we're going to be working very diligently to get that in place before August 31st. Okay, marketing and promotions, communications. As I mentioned to you earlier, we've hired a marketing manager, Amy Brevard, who's doing a great job. And one of the highlights that she's been working on that's going to be taking place this May and June, she has worked diligently, and we're going to be having a blogger come to Rutherford County. And those bloggers are the name of two companies, Love Meg. Trust me, guys, these are the bloggers, and they got, Love Meg has 266,000 followers. Anyway, Love Meg will be coming to Rutherford County at no expense to anybody, and blogging and writing about Rutherford County and things to do here in Rutherford County. Why Travel will be coming in June, and they have over 200,000 followers. So that's a very cost-effective way to market and promote Rutherford County. Our website, visitncsmalltowns.com, is doing excellent. We've got a new optimization program that we have put into place, and our visitation to the website is up 60% from our prior website. And we also have 4% increase in people actually using the pages and going on deeper in that. So we're seeing increases each and every month, and we're excited about that. We're also focusing on stakeholder and newsletter updates and communication. And we're working on hospitality training program. And we are also getting out our vacation guide, which I am going to present to you now, which is hot off the press, as in a couple hours ago. Yeah, I was looking at the printing. You're right, Commissioner. That was we sure don't want to leave the attorney out. So anyway, we do have literally got delivered today. So all of the citizens will be getting that word out, getting the vacation guide out. We're getting them out into the Rutherford Airport. We're getting them out at the Biltmore Outlet Mall, Charlotte Visitor Centers, Asheville Regional Airport, and many more places. And then, of course, all of the destination places throughout Rutherford County. So we're really excited about getting that out. But that is our countywide vacation guide. Okay, there's just a quick shot of some of the different ads and advertisements that we'll be coming out with. That you'll see some of those photos that are in the vacation guide. But we're going to be coming out with a new ad program. And we got a new billboard that is going to be out on 74. And we're looking at a billboard out on 26. And trying to grab some of the Board of Equestrian Games visitation. And a couple of other items I'll mention to you, bring to your attention. We're excited, as you all know, we put together a community development program last year's budget. We have now received 8 applications, and we're going to market and promote that program even more. But we've had 8 applications for well over $20,000 that we give back to the citizens and nonprofit tourist-related promotions in Rutherford County. So that program is starting to get the word out. We're going to work very hard about getting that out. But again, 8 for over $20,000, and we got 50 in the budget. So if there's any tourism-related events and stuff throughout the county, we want to help and participate and partner. Okay, I know you guys got a long, detailed agenda. I just want to let you know that we are excited with the things that are going on in Rutherford County. Open any comments or questions at this time, and any time in the future. I'd love to meet with you if you have any other details. Next quarterly meeting, I will give you a year-end update and a budget layout on where we are for the new year.
Thank you, Bill. This is for information only.
Okay. Thank you.
We made coffee, you can stay if you like.
What's that?
We made coffee, you can stay if you like.
Okay. I'll stay for a little bit, yes.
No, you can leave.
You notice I said a little bit.
All right, the next item on the agenda is 1643, the gap building update. Revenue Director, Gary.
It is a new tax that has been created by the North Carolina legislature. It was part of the motor vehicle taxation system that was voted in and approved in 2013. However, this part of the law was not put into effect until July of 17. What we're talking about tonight is gap billing. So some of the topics I'm going to go over in this presentation are going to be real short. I'm going to try and keep it real brief. I want to give you a brief history of motor vehicle taxation in the state of North Carolina, give you a brief definition of what gap billing actually is. We'll go over a little bit of the law, a little bit of the report that we're getting from the state vehicle tax system, and some results. And then we're going to go over some costs and that kind of thing, and let you know what your bottom line is going to be at the end of the day. Brief history of motor vehicle taxation in North Carolina. Prior to 1993, all motor vehicles, registered and unregistered, tagged or untagged, had to be listed with your real property during the January listing period. Beginning in June of 1993 with the March 1993 renewals, DMV began sending the county a file of all the vehicles that were registered or issued tags in a previous month, and we began billing registered motor vehicle taxes separately from the real estate taxes. And they were due at different times during the year, usually 30 days after the bill was issued. Beginning in September 2013, the state yet again revamped and revised motor vehicle taxation in the state of North Carolina, and they introduced the integrated statewide registration and tax collection system known as Tag and Tax Together. Now the collection is done by the DMV or the local license plate agency. County still has the authority over the value of the vehicles and the tax rates that are applied to those vehicles to create your tax levy. So that's pretty much in a nutshell the taxation over the last 20, 30 years or so. What is gap billing? Gap billing is actually the billing of an unregistered vehicle where there was a registration that expired and a new one was applied for, but there was a gap, a time period in between the vehicle registrations that taxes were not paid during that month. When you go and renew your tag at the license plate agency or through the mail to DMV, you're prepaying taxes for the time period that your registration is effective for. For instance, if your tag runs out in January, you go renew it in January, then your taxes that you're paying at that time run from that January through the end of that expiration period the next year. So it runs from January of 19 to January of 2020. So the gap billing happens if there is a gap between the time your tag expires and the time you either register that tag again or request a new tag for your vehicle. And that's what we're billing with this gap billing. It will only be for the months that were missed. And normally what happens when you have a gap in your coverage, it's usually something like you either forgot to renew, or maybe there was a reason you didn't renew. Maybe your vehicle was in the shop or was inoperable at the time. Depending on your situation, the license plate agency will either renew your tag and you'll pay for your taxes and you may have a little penalty for being late. Or if your vehicle's inoperable or there's a problem with it, there's several issues when DMV will actually reset your tag to a different expiration date. And when they do that, that's what causes the gap. So that's what gap billing is. This statute comes under 105-330.3, paragraph 2. The statute's there, I'll let you read it, but basically it just says for any months for which the vehicle was not registered, then the gap billing occurs. Just a quick summary of that law is it defines what an unregistered vehicle is for that gap period. The bills for these will actually be due the September 1st after the bills go out. The bills any bills created after September would be due the following September 1st. So they could have up to a year to pay before those, and the interest goes on January 6th following that September 1st due date. The gap billing report, we will get information from the DMV regarding the current registration, the prior registration's expiration that caused the gap. We'll get values, we'll get what time renewal it was, whether it was a true renewal or a new issuance of a tag, and of course the owner's information and vehicle information. This slide shows some results from across the state. There are some counties that have already begun gap billing. Rutherford County is a little bit behind because our software vendor was not ready to implement gap billing. So we just got that implemented and got the system ready to accept those bills. But here's some results from across the state. As you can see, Tyrell County, which is a small county, only had 22 records for total gap billing. Value totaled $57,000, and at their tax rate, brought in a levy of just under $400. You go on down Wake County, which is where Raleigh is located in Wake County. They had 1,191 records for a total value, 1 month, of $6.2 million. And that brought in just at $37,000 in levy. Based on what I've seen for the January 2018 gap billing report that I have not billed for yet, I was waiting to get this presentation for the commissioners before we implemented billing. But based on that 1 month's records, we would have just over 513 records for a total value of $706,000 and bring in, at our current tax rate, about $4,200, $4,289.88 to be exact. As you can see here, our cost and benefit to the county, estimated levy for 1 month is the $4,289. The cost to print and the postage to mail these bills is going to run right around $1,300, bringing you to a monthly estimated levy of just right at $3,000 in additional levy. And it's going to be an estimated levy for 1 year of a little over $35,000. Some frequently asked questions that taxpayers may ask. I want to make sure I got answers to you gentlemen so that you'd have this in front of you. But basically, what is a gap tax notice? And a gap tax notice is a property tax bill that covers the months between the expiration of a vehicle's registration and the renewal or issuance of a new registration. Why am I receiving this tax bill? The registration for the vehicle listed on the notice expired. The vehicle's registration was recently renewed or a registration was issued, and the lapse between the two, it was considered an unregistered vehicle. And then it gives the statute of why we're required to collect and bill those taxes. One of the things I've heard is, what about the taxes you paid at the time you renewed? Again, that's a prepaid tax that's paid from your issuance date through your expiration date, so it's a prepaid tax. What we're doing is we're capturing the months in between that did not get taxed. And that's all the information I have. Do you have any questions?
This is required by state law.
This is required by state law.
Thank you very much. Now we're down to 18-16-42, old business. Oh, sure.
I came before you in February, and we had given you a collector's report and had asked for the ability to advertise our liens on delinquent real property taxes. We had asked for that date of advertisement to be May 11th. After we started preparing, we'd sent letters, the second notices out to taxpayers, giving them until April 30th to pay their taxes before we advertised. But unbeknownst to us, there were some restrictions and guidelines to get that submitted to the paper so that we could get it in the May 11th edition. So we're having to come back and ask for an extension on that. We're hoping to get that in the paper by May 18th.
The actions to approve the date of advertising the actions to approve the date change for advertising real property tax liens.
Second.
Motion second, discussion. Hearing none, call the question. All in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, likewise. You did. All right. Waiting all night for this one. 18-1637, the Viper Tower lease agreement.
Chairman, Commissioners, good afternoon. This is a lease agreement that you have before you to install some county-owned equipment on the new Viper Tower that's located in Jimmy Rock Park. Viper stands for Voice Interoperability Plan for Emergency Responders. It's operated by the North Carolina Highway Patrol. That tower site was built in Rutherford County due to legislation, and currently there was no expense involved in that until this lease agreement. The Highway Patrol funded that tower site, takes care of the road maintenance, the building that's up there to house the equipment in, as well as monitoring that site 24/7, 365, and also provides a backup generator in the event the power's out up there, which I'm sure will be out quite often. This is to move equipment from our existing site in the Young's Mountain area, Lake Lure, over to the Jimmy Rock site. This would move our sheriff's office, EMS, and fire departments, VHF, or very high frequency, or also known as Viper has failed. If it does, then we'll revert back to that, to that site over there. So that's what the request of the lease agreement is for. I just had to say that.
I just think Viper's a nickname, so I just had to say Viper.
Okay, good.
Viper. So regarding the Viper agreement, the actions to approve the Viper lease agreement, authorize the county manager to sign. What's the will of the board?
I make a motion to do this.
It has to do with the Viper.
Make a motion to approve and,
Second. You have a motion second. Any discussion? This Viper tower would have come in handy during the fire recently.
That is correct. Hopefully this will enhance our communications. Our tower site at Lake Lure is currently is overgrown with trees that's in the city limits, and you can't cut trees within the city limits, so we're really struggling during the summer months when the leaves are out on this tower site. So we're optimistic that this new site will provide for better communications for our emergency responders.
Motion second, discussion. Any further discussion? Hearing none, call the question. All in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, likewise.
Thank you, Jim.
You got your Viper, please. The next item on the agenda is 18-1629, the resolution awarding Deputy Stephen Danny's service sidearm. We have a sheriff here somewhere. Sheriff Francis, good to see you.
Good to see you, sir. I certainly appreciate the opportunity to address the board this evening. However, in the future, I would request not to follow our Fire Marshal Roger Hopkins. That is very hard to do. But I do respectfully request a resolution tonight acknowledging the service of Deputy Stephen Ernest Nanny and awarding him his service sidearm to him. If you do so, it would read such as, for whereas Deputy Stephen Nanny has served Rutherford County Sheriff's Department since 2007 and law enforcement since 1980. And whereas Deputy Nanny has dedicated over 27 years of his life to law enforcement and public service. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Commissioners of the County of Rutherford, in accordance with North Carolina General Statute 20-187, which does allow the Governor's Board to do this, hereby award Deputy Nanny his service sidearm in exchange for consideration of $1, which I am ready to pay tonight. That is my request.
I'd like to make a motion to approve that.
A motion, need a second? Motion second, any discussion?
I've had the opportunity to work with Officer Nanny, and I'm tickled to see him finally get to the retirement sector. I've enjoyed that myself from Highway Patrol, and it is a good time to finally make it to the end. And it was an honor to work with him, and thank you for allowing him to serve, and he's been a wonderful servant for the county.
Thank you, Mr. Rick.
Thank you, as well as other officers.
Certainly, I will circle that message. Thank you.
Sure.
For the record, I'd like to be on that dollar is going to our assistant finance director.
Got a motion second, we're finishing discussion here now. Call for vote. Those all in favor of the question, raise your right hand. Any opposed, like? Thank you, thank you for the dollar. Next item is 181630. Steve Collins. Here, this is the Juvenile Crime Prevention Council funding allocation for 2018-19. Hello, sir.
Hello, I'm Steve Collins, Chairman of the Juvenile Crime Prevention Council. And with me, the very articulate Mr. Rodney Wesson, longtime JCPC member and Chief Court Counselor. We've submitted our county funding plan, including allocations for the 18-19 fiscal year. And that's it for approval.
I know that won't be a problem because I heard Steve cry earlier. And if that doesn't work, we can say Viper as many times as we want to.
Are there any questions from the board? I hear what's the board regarding this matter.
Motion to approve funding request.
Second.
Motion second, any discussion? Gotta get you two to say bye. Motion second, discussion. Any further discussion? Hearing none, call for the vote. All in favor, raise your right hand. Any opposed, likewise?
If you could tolerate just one comment. You bragged before about the volunteers in Rutherford County. I want to brag about our leadership with Mr. Collins. He's been a terrific chair to work with. And the volunteers that are with our Juvenile Crime Prevention Council are wonderful people representing Rutherford County. Very much the same spirit of volunteerism you speak of in terms of their commitment and dedication. I know other boards have that same kind of representation. But as a member of juvenile justice, I just want to say how proud I am to work with Steve and how proud I am to work with the JCPC.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next item is 181633, the isothermal regional bicycle plan. Steve, how are you?
Good, how are you? Executive summary here. Thank you. We're transferring the power plants and the laptop. Appreciate your patience.
Thank you for not your last
Krasnodowski. It's just run there from Eastern Europe.
You're not running for sheriff, are you? I'll find that joke later.
Alrighty, I'm going to give a brief overview of the Isothermal Regional Bicycle Plan. I'd like to say that 5 times fast, along with my last name as well. And, this process began last year. NCDOT funds one regional bicycle plan per year in North Carolina, and the Isothermal Planning and Development Commission successfully applied and received a grant for this project, which began last year, and is a year-long planning process. So, supported by NCDOT's Bike Ped Division, and I had the privilege to work with, I'm part of the consulting firm, Auto Planning and Design, to work with the Regional Planning Commission on this project in NCDOT. And I also want to apologize for like some of the fonts are a little funky on here, but hopefully it'll read okay. So some of the background of the project, the reason why we do these types of projects are several. Overall quality of life is sort of a key factor, but a lot of things go into that. And, one aspect is not just the recreational aspect of bicycling, but also the transportation component for mobility. Our towns and our communities, a lot of our destinations that we drive to every day are reachable by bicycles. It's another opportunity to integrate efficiencies into our system and think about safety. Think about your average kid or your average adult feeling comfortable to ride a bike out there. Certain types of infrastructure are going to provide that opportunity, but also looking for the big bang for the buck, the low hanging fruit type projects is what we focused on for infrastructure and economic impacts. There's certainly a tourism aspect to bicycling. That's an important component, but also economic diversification. There's connecting our businesses to the thermal belt, connecting downtowns to each other, Spindale, Rutherford, Forest City. All of those are important considerations, and all these add up to overall quality of life. And so there's some reasons why we worked on this project. And, steering committee, it's a big long list there. We had representatives, and to back up a little bit, this was not only Rutherford County, it just covers Polk County, McDowell County, Cleveland County. So we have representatives from each county as well as municipalities, business owners that were interested in the project. And we also had members of NCDOT's engineering as part of our committee. And in that picture there, you can probably see Dana Cersei and Aubrey play with Rutherford County. The planning process included a public outreach effort that we went to public events last year to have an information booth, and we had an online survey, online input map, and throughout the process we worked with our steering committee to get the word out to the community and local stakeholders and help spread the word about the project. And right there's a little picture of the business cards that we handed out with the project website and ways to interact with the project team. This past January we had released a draft plan and had public outreach open houses in each county. And the room adjacent here is what we had here, ours in Rutherford County. And so we had a pretty good turnout with over 500 participants from the public comment forums and the online input map. A couple of things to highlight, just safety and infrastructure. One thing that we heard loud and clear from the comment form question asked, what type of bicycle facilities do you prefer? And this is something that we saw here, we see across North Carolina too, and across the United States. Is this preference for being separated from automobiles, under greenway trails, different types of separated bike lanes that have plantings or some kind of structure in between cars and bikes. So you see a lot of the preferences sort of gravitating towards those types of facilities, but certainly things like shorter and quiet neighborhood streets that connect across town, looking for those opportunities that don't quite cost as much are important and have their place as well. But understanding the right context for different types of facilities is a really important part of this process, and what I want to highlight here too. So there's really good guidance out there for walking, bicycling facilities. And MHWA has a small town and rural multimodal networks design guide, which I highly, if you remember one thing from this presentation, remember that document right there. There's a companion website, ruraldesign.com, that is very user-friendly. Graphically provides great engineering, design, planning guidance for these types of considerations, certain traffic volumes and speed limits to consider a certain type of facility, and context-specific considerations. So there's a lot of ways that
bicycling facilities can unfold, and this helps point you to the right direction. The basis of the recommendations: committee input, public input, destination connectivity, mapping analysis. We look at roadway data like traffic volume, speed limits, paved shoulder, those types of things. Existing plans and corridor studies that have been done in the past. A lot of great thinking has already been done on these efforts. Rutherford did a bike ped plan last year. Forest City has a pedestrian and greenways plan, and Spindale is currently doing a bicycle pedestrian plan. We certainly coordinate with those processes and include those data considerations and pull it all together. And so for a regional plan, that multi-jurisdictional coordination, especially between, when we think about central Rutherford County, the multi-jurisdictional coordination that needs to go on for certain types of connections. That's a really important part of the process, is having those types of discussions. And so we look at projects, we certainly think, long-term vision, but also short-term. What are some of those low-hanging fruit type projects? And here in Rutherford County, there are 7 projects that are detailed with opportunities and challenges, planning level cost estimates that are highlighted in the document. And most of them revolve around connectivity to the Thermal Belt Rail Trail and the Purple Martin Greenway, and some of them build on the Rutherford bike ped plan that was done this past year, and the Forest City pedestrian plan as well. And so those are some projects that bring to life some of those next steps that could happen with the Thermal Belt implementation. And of course, long-term projects, there's some really cool things to think about, not only across the region, but in connectivity to other counties. But in this region in particular, in Rutherford County, that old rail line from Thermal Belt used to go all the way up into Marion, and Marion, McDowell County, they have a rail trail as well that's expanding and kind of making its way down here. So they start to look at ways some of these could link over time, and organizations like the McDowell Trails Association, the Rutherford Outdoor Coalition, certainly talks about those pieces, and starting to have those kinds of conversations now. But some of those items are long-term things to consider. But linking South Mountain State Park and Central Rutherford County over Lake Lure, and eventually Polk County, Tryon, Columbus. There's a lot of really cool opportunities that can be done, and how to do those efficiently are focused on for this plan. And the state bike route system comes through Rutherford County. You probably see signs for NC8, the Southern Highlands route, and over time those were signed back in the 70s and first proposed back then. And some of those roads have been improved over time without bicycle facilities, but this highlights some of those opportunities and challenges for incorporating those into future roadway projects, and looking for ways to be efficient with the resources that are out there. Policy considerations are really important. So best practices for complete streets, and thinking about coordinating with roadway development and future land use projects. There's a lot of ways that we can work out efficiencies in integrating bicycle infrastructure into the transportation network. Programmatically as well, Watch For Me and C campaign, Active Routes to School, the Carolina Fred Trail, here in the Rutherford Outdoor Coalition. There's a lot of people working on these types of things already across the public and private nonprofit sectors. Bicycle brochure maps were produced for each county in the region, and these highlight, if you're a bicyclist today and want to go out for a ride, where are existing trails, where are those roads that have lower traffic volumes and lower speeds that you might want to aim for, and kind of roads to avoid, that type of thing. And along with safety information, further information on where to find, plan resources and programmatic resources as well. So in sum, just a kind of overview of what this plan means. It's important for roadway projects if you're considering bicycle facilities. This is a great resource book for you. It kind of spells out a lot of different contexts you're going to come across out there. And of course, the short-term projects, project sheets, cost estimates, inform specific projects, next steps that could be taken. Programmatically, policy-wise, there's a lot of different ways that go into that make a community bicycle friendly. There's a lot of things that can be worked on at the same time, but by different people. And so this plan, for grant applications, funding, looking for dollars out there. Grantor is going to ask you if you studied the plan, or studied a certain project or corridor, and getting some of those projects shovel ready. Thinking about Thermal Belt Road Trail next steps, and connectivity to our schools and parks and destinations. This helps spell some of that out. And the brochure maps, of course, can be used for tourism aspect. There's a lot of, bicycle rides that come through this area. And a lot of people that just like to get out there to the beautiful, scenic, rural roads that Rutherford County is blessed with. And so those are some highlights there. And I appreciate your time. That's the conclusion of the presentation, and happy to take any questions that you may have.
Bicycling is really popular right now in our county. You see it where you get, especially on the weekends. And I appreciate the comments that were made on safety for being considered in these plans.
You comment on the rail trail route. I know that's probably one of our biggest assets as far as, bicycling. I know a young man who lives in Spindale and was looking at the process of, that route getting paved. He says, it'd be good because I'm fixing to start a job down in Far City and I want to be able to ride my bicycle from there to Far City. So, for me to hear that, I'm like, well, that's good, he's going to use it to go to work. So I thought that was really interesting. And then you have this route here, which is a good, rail trail, a good long portion too. But it's going to help him, and it's going to be safer for him if he is on that trail versus on the road riding his bicycle.
Any further comments or questions? Gentlemen, on our agenda and on the website is a resolution. I'll skip to the end. Now therefore be resolved that the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners hereby support the Isothermal Regional Bicycle Plan. Regarding this resolution, was the will of the board?
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? I looked it up. They do make something called a Viper bike. Any further discussion? Call the question. All in favor, raise your right hand. Any opposed, like no. Thank you, sir.
Thanks so much for your time.
Next item is 1631. This is the budget presentation for 1819. I think Ms. Garrison, if you would, your presentation, and then the presentation will discuss the workshop dates and budget adoption dates.
Thank you, Chairman, Commissioners. I only have about 60 slides to go through. I say that knowing that this is one more PowerPoint presentation for you to watch this afternoon. I'll try to be brief but succinct. Each year, we begin the budget process not long after the Christmas holidays, and usually we spend about 4 to 5 months evaluating the needs of the citizens we serve, defining the staff resources needed to serve the citizens, defining the critical capital facility, equipment, and technology needs, projecting the multitude of operational expenses each department has, and projecting our anticipated revenues for the coming year. When all is said and done, the fiscal year budget must balance with the revenues matching the expenditures. The county receives revenue from multiple sources, including ad valorem taxes, sales taxes, state funds, federal funds, grants, and specific departmental fees. We evaluate and consider budget requests from each of the departments, offices, and community partners you see populated on the screen. When we look internally at the various county departments, each budget line item is compared against prior years to establish an expenditure and revenue trend line and to document justifications for what we're defining as far as the increases and the decreases within each department line. Once we receive all of the budget requests from Isothermal Community College, the Rutherford County School System, the county departments, and our community partners, total amount of county funds requested was $67,669,090, which left an initial gap of revenue needed to cover the requested expenditures of about $7.9 million. Currently, the value of 1 penny of the tax rate is worth about $580,185. That's when you back out the value of the Economic Development Incentive Agreement amounts. To accommodate this increase to the budget would require the addition of approximately 13.7 cents to the tax rate, which would increase the current rate that we currently have is at 60.70 to 74.48 cents per each $100 of appraised value. So what are the contributing factors causing the expenditure request to exceed our available projected revenues by $7.9 million. In general, one factor that continues to impact the proposed budget is tied to the available revenue sources that are not keeping pace with what we're seeing as far as our projected expenditures. Essentially, the perpetual inflation of the cost of doing business typically outpaces the revenues that are generated. The tax rate has not been adjusted to accommodate this in over a decade. And although we went through a revaluation in 2012, the tax rate was set at revenue neutral and not adjusted for inflation. The last turnkey full list and measure completed in Rutherford County, that was in 2002. So the 2007 and the 2012 reevaluation, they consisted of random field visits, desk audits, and cell reviews. In preparation for the 2019 revaluation, which will be coming up this next year, that we've been working on for the last 2.5 years, it was necessary for the county to begin the process, and 2 years ago we projected and began setting aside funds for the cost of the full list and measure evaluation. As you recall, that number came in at $1.5 million. So for budgeting purpose, we spread that out over the 3-year period with a budget allocation of $500,000 budgeted each fiscal year. So we'll see that last final appropriation coming up in the FY 18-19 budget. Rutherford County School System has identified approximately $2,027,370 of additional operational and capital facility needs for FY 18 and 19. That's about a 13.1 increase. ICC has identified $404,556 for a 17.8% increase, which includes their capital outlay request. School system continues to face a funding deficit for their state mandated. School system continues to face a funding deficit for their state-mandated exceptional children programming. That's due to a state cap in the percent of children of the student population served. Currently, students meeting the criteria for placement in the exceptional children programming represent 17.1% of the school system's allotted average daily membership, but state only provides funding for this mandated program of 12.75%. In addition to increased costs of business expenses for fuel and insurance, the school system budget includes anticipated state mandated increases for salary and employee benefits, totaling approximately $1.94 million. The school system has also requested approximately $183,000 to address the projected loss of federal funds. For capital facilities and equipment needs, the school system requested approximately $1.5 million, $1.462. For critical capital facility needs and $490,903 for critical technical and technology needs. Isothermal Community College, they've experienced some general increases in salary and benefits as well due to rate adjustments. Primary increase to the ICC budget is the additional expense that's anticipated for the opening of the new Applied Science Technology and Workforce Development Building, which they're hoping to bring online in January of 2019. Working with the MAPS group, the county completed the pay and class study last year due to wage compression and the loss of employees across a variety of departments who are accepting positions in other local governments or in the private sector. Based on the information that we generally gather from the exit interviews, the most common denominator appeared to be the lack of competitive wages in the county's current pay class schedule. Recognizing that our current financial capacity would not support the rollout of the recommendation of the pay class study in 1 year, we propose that the pay class recommended adjustments occur over 3-year budget cycles, along with a separate cost of living adjustment to ensure that in 3 years we're not back around where we were. This will get us closer to the regional market levels, and so we're proposing in this budget what we were proposing earlier was a 3-phase rollout. So this is phase 2 of the 3-phase rollout, and it will include pay class adjustment and as well as a 1% COLA adjustment. Generally, as local economies improve, we see the DSS numbers sort of ebb and flow with that. DSS, child protective service cases, adult protective service cases, public assistance cases, generally you'll see reductions here. However, in Rutherford County, we're not immune from the national trend of opiate and other substance addictions. And right now, we're seeing that the number of CPS and adult protective services cases is they're really dramatically increased throughout the county. And of course, that's impacting our caseload sizes and court docket numbers. There's also been some legislation put in place last year that moves the responsibility from the state to the county for the repayment of Medicaid funds due to eligibility termination errors. To lessen the risk and liability to the county, we're proposing the addition of a quality review position and as well as quality review position to go into the Economic Services Department. County's also throwing a Plan Development Commission annual dues. That's increasing to $4,443, or by that much. Rutherford County and McDowell Polk Regional Health Department, they continue to struggle as far as operating within the funds allocated for the 3 counties and the eligible reimbursements that they receive from the state and the federal governments. This budget proposes an increase of $70,687 for operations. Overall, as far as our general benefit plan, we anticipate a 5% increase in our health insurance effective January 1st of 2019. Local government retirement allocation expected to increase by 4.1%, and the law enforcement officer retirement allocation expected to increase by 3.9%. I think it's extremely significant to point out that due to the efforts of the Human Resources Department, as well as department heads, elected officials, and staff to practice and implement good workplace safety procedures and measures, workers' compensation and property liability this year, we're anticipating that to remain essentially flat. So I do appreciate that. We also anticipate that the dental insurance premium will remain flat. County Planning Department, they have identified in excess of $549,000 in critical urgent repair and renovation needs for capital facilities and properties. The Information Technology Department, they've identified $720,260 in critical urgent need for 2018-19 across all departments. The budget that we have, though, based again on that financial capacity we have, we're proposing $376,290 for capital facilities and $320,355 for IT. So where do the funds go in the county budget? The county funds are distributed categorically as is demonstrated on the pie chart that you see. The top 3 we have are education at 27.84%, public safety at 23.55%, human services at 20.94%. The human services number is a bit misleading, however, is approximately 70% of those local tax dollars used to support human services actually are reimbursed through state, federal, and grant sources, leaving approximately 30% of those dollars are actually from local county dollars. As you can see from this pie chart, the county continues to cover the gap in funds available for capital facility debt service for education, primarily due to the legislative reduction in lottery funds, the recession-based reduction in sales tax contributions, which directly impacts Articles 40 and 42 of the sales tax that we utilize for capital facilities for school system, and the legislative elimination of the ADM corporate sales tax. If we add in the portion of county funds used to supplement the school construction debt service, it comes out to approximately $1.5 million. Education for RCS and ICC, they make up approximately 32.36% of the appropriated county funds. So what does the FY 18-19 proposed budget not include? Due to the restrictions of expenses over revenues, there were budget requests that we were unable to really include in the proposed FY 18-19 budget. That includes the following items: to meet increased customer demands, to better serve our customers, and to ensure succession planning for our retired employees. Many of the departments request new positions or staff reclassifications internally. We were unable to include most of those in the proposed budget. Although we recognize the nonprofit organizations operating in Rutherford County as good community partners who provide critical services to our citizens that the county is not able to offer, or maybe that those services complement the services that we have in place, the projected revenues for FY 18-19 will not support all the requested nonprofit requests we received that were submitted for FY 18-19. 2 exceptions included in the budget include funding to support physical legal services as they continue to work with the county on housing issues and youth empowerment as well. Both of these are nonprofits that are providing services or programs that align with one or more of the commissioner goals, which I'll go through those momentarily. The budget proposes also to continue support for the school system, the school foundation backpack program. That's to address childhood hunger. And also, we have a contribution of $25,000 included in the budget as well to Cliffside Sanitary District to assist them in their efforts to address urgent repairs that are currently needed at the Cliffside Sanitary District system. Funding allocations to all current nonprofit agencies that we have that are currently under budget, those are remaining flat. Generally, we set aside funds in a contingency line item to cover unplanned and incidental expenditures. We did not have, or we did not include any amount in the current budget for a contingency line. Any unpredicted allocations of funds that will be needed for FY 18-19 will have to come from additional funds or appropriations or from reductions that we do across departmental budget line items. The budget proposes a contribution of county funds appropriated to the Rutherford County school system of $14,268,004 for operations. That includes SRO funds and $1,096,163 for capital outlay. That also includes $247,332 to cover current debt services for vehicles. The school system did request that we remove that, but we still have that in as far as the debt service that will be paid off, and I believe indicated that that debt service should close out by 2021. Operations includes a separate county line item appropriation for sheriff resource officers for the SROs. That will increase to $253,450. For isothermal community college operating expenses, we're recommending $2,341,601. That's their capital outlay annual allocation. That remains as an allocation at $200,000. For the school system and ICC, the funds proposed are an increase of our contributions to their operations of approximately 3%. Let's talk about trends real quick. We continue to see growth in the property tax collections and the collection rate. Currently, we're projecting a growth percentage of about 3.883%. Most are contributable to the completion of the fourth Facebook building, as well as we had a hotel that was completed in the Far City building the last couple of years. For the current fiscal year, the collection rate we're using for FY 18-19 is 97.26%. So that's up from 97.02% from the previous year. Sales tax continues to rise as well, projecting a growth percentage of 2% for the current fiscal year. We're budgeting sales tax conservatively. However, as a portion of the growth is due in part to the new construction again of the Facebook facility as well as the New Hampton Inn Suites in Far City. We knew that we were seeing a little bit of a blip caused by that, and now that those buildings are constructed, that number will stabilize. The one big thing that will have an impact on that coming up in the next budget year, or this September of this next fiscal year, will be the World Equestrian Games. Really hard to know exactly what to project as far as increases tied to that. Obviously, tax collections continue to rise, as Don Casey mentioned earlier. Right now, we're currently projecting a growth increase during this fiscal year of approximately 40%. The factors in the impact associated with the Tryon International Equestrian Center World Equestrian Games, as well as the increase of the occupancy tax rate from 5% to 6%. The unemployment rate in Rutherford County continues to be at the pre-recession percentages. As of February, the rate in February for Rutherford County was 6.2%. That's down from 6.7% in February a year ago. Currently, the average rate in North Carolina is 4.9%. I believe those numbers may have come out today or late last week. Our goal when developing the annual budget is to ensure that the revenues from the multiple revenue sources available to the county, including tax revenues, are sufficient to cover the mandated services we're required to provide and the services that we provide to improve the quality of life for the citizens of Rutherford County. As I previously stated, our projected revenues are not keeping pace with our expenditures, and it's not advisable to continue to solely use our fund balance to close the gap in future budget cycles. It's imperative that the county can retain optimal levels of the fund balance of the general fund. Similar to the message I presented to the commissioners during the past couple of budget cycles, the FY 18-19 budget reflects difficult issues that will require careful allocation of financial resources and personnel. The budget was created to ensure that the county can continue to provide core services and still make sound investments in those programs, or those projects and programs that improve the quality of life for our citizens. The total general fund budget is proposed at $63,588,267, with the total budget for all funds coming in at $83,448,091. As a reminder, this includes all funds that the county collects from many of our partner agencies, including the fire departments. Recommending that the current tax rate remain at 60.7. The proposed budget presents an overall growth percentage of approximately 3% for the county, for the Rutherford County School System and also Thermal Community College. The projected revenues for FY 18-19 continues to be inadequate to address all the critical capital facility, equipment, and technology needs of the county, school system, and the community college as well. The budget proposes the appropriating of approximately $2,026,000, there we go, a fund balance to address the critical needs. As you may recall, the current budget also includes appropriation of fund balances of approximately 2.87 or 2.9 billion, which we've been able to partially replenish as we've navigated the current budget year. Anticipate closing out the year at approximately 1.9 million to finish. Solid waste. The solid waste department, we operate that as an enterprise fund and self-supporting by the revenues that are generated by the program. Due to the increase in the operating costs and the increasing critical urgent capital facility and equipment needs, the revenues generated are not sufficient for meeting the current and ongoing operations and capital facility equipment costs for the department. Many of the challenges that have plagued our solid waste enterprise fund operations includes the reduction of services or in revenues from recycling metals and the reduction of state funds and grants to support our electronics recycling, white goods recycling, tire disposal and recycling, and oil filter recycling programs. The solid waste department facilities and equipment are aging, critical repairs and replacements are needed, and the current waste hauling services contract that we have in place is set to increase by 2% this budget year. The current fee structure and the exemptions list is not equitable. It's out of line with what we're seeing in other counties. We contracted W.R. Martin consulting firm to research, evaluate, and report findings and recommendations to ensure the long-term sustainability of our solid waste department. Given the statutory restrictions in General Statute 153A, which authorizes the county to provide solid waste collection and disposal services as a public enterprise, it is critical that we not set fee amounts such that the proceeds generated exceeds the cost of providing that particular solid waste service for which this fee is assessed. In a summary, for every department level that we have, the services that we have, the revenues generated by that need to support the expenditures, the direct and indirect costs for that particular service area within the solid waste. Applying the methodology introduced in the W.R. Martin study to the identified expenditures, direct and indirect, for each service, we're proposing an adjusted fee structure for the solid waste enterprise fund. The proposed fee structure will create greater equity. It will help to ensure the sustainability of the operations. For FY 18-19, we propose the following. We're recommending a few modifications to the solid waste exemptions list as outlined in the draft budget ordinance that you believe will have presented to you. It's probably in your notebooks. The homestead fee will be adjusted from $30 to $50, consistent with what we're seeing in other counties. Solid waste convenience center availability fees adjusted to $142 per year. It comes out about approximately $12 per month. The MSW tipping fee will stay the same at $62 per ton. The CMD tipping fee adjusted to $45 per ton. Other miscellaneous tipping fees, we're looking for those to stay the same. Recognizing that our citizens are struggling to dispose of their electronics, this new fee structure and exemptions list will permit us to begin accepting electronics at the landfill only at no cost. This will be for residential electronics only. Current fee structure to accept commercial and business electronics will stay the same due to the volume. Each year, the Board of County Commissioners meet to establish goals for the upcoming fiscal year that generally drives staff efforts and budget decisions. The Commissioners also develop several overarching focus points that each of the commissioner goals should fall under. The overarching focus points include job creation, increased economic development, transparency, promote good government by operating in a professional manner, support education K through 12 and ICC, infrastructure enhancements, improve quality of life, public safety, and build a foundation to improve service delivery and access to services. I know that we have presented these goals in prior commissioner meetings, so I won't belabor them. I do want to make sure that they were included as part of the presentation. They are also included in the budget message. I want to say, as far as our public, we certainly invite you to come and take a look at the budget. We're going to have the budget message, the presentation for this afternoon, as well as the proposed ordinance available online on the county website, I believe. So let me get through these. I do want to make a point regarding one of the goals that we talked about, the commissioners chose, and this is under enhanced service delivery and, yes, customer access. Under the focus area of enhanced service delivery and customer access, one of the defined goals the commissioners requested was to work with the regional health department to improve environmental health response times. We received information in April from the director regarding the resignation of a critical senior environmental health on-site supervisor. The county managers of Polk, McDowell, and Rutherford counties were advised that the health department is actively advertising across the state in various media outlets, but also at various universities. Most new hires coming into the department typically do so in work against status, which means that it can take up to a year before the new hires can actually perform the functions they've been hired for and issue permits on their own. We've been advised that permits could take between 6 to 8 weeks to process. I want to make sure that that's information presented to the public and to the commissioners this afternoon. Some of the factors impacting this includes the lack of financial capacity to pay competitive wages. Specialized field, it's a specialized field that they work in and requires that the new hires have specific certifications and field training. Seems to be a national downward trend across multiple specialized professional disciplines. People not moving into these career paths. Not only affecting environmental health, we're also seeing that in EMS, as well as fire departments, law enforcement, and private sector trades such as electricians, plumbers, and others. The volume of requests for permits has doubled. It's a good thing. It certainly is creating some challenges, having permits doubled and nearly tripled from the previous year. And currently, the department is contracting with some staff from out of the county, but that's pretty costly. Those resources can also only typically work on the weekends, as they're obligated to work for environmental health services from whatever county they work from. But we do appreciate those reciprocal and those interlocal type of arrangements that we have with other counties. I want to publicly acknowledge my great appreciation to the Rutherford County department heads. Our administrative team here at the administration building, I really appreciate them, and the Board of County Commissioners as we navigated through the budget process. Citizens can take a lot of pride in the skills and expertise that I continue to see in our finance director, Paula Rutherford. I take comfort and I hope they do as well, knowing that she is carefully watching over the county's finances. In the end, the recommendations contained in the recommended FY 18-19 budget are those of the county manager. I appreciate the opportunity to continue to serve the Board of Commissioners and the citizens of Rutherford County. I look forward to working with the board to review this recommendations and adopt a budget ordinance in 2018-19 for 2018-19 next month. The information again will be available for public view. And Chairman, I believe there is also a list of proposed dates that y'all were requesting that the commissioners consider for approval, because the next step for us obviously is to meet with the commissioners to go over the budget and to see if we can respond to any questions, concerns, and also just to engage you a little further into what's being proposed. Everything you saw tonight was proposed, and then we'll hopefully come back in June and ask the commissioners to approve the budget for FY 18-19. Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you, Mr. Garrison. Gentlemen, for you are the dates for the budget workshops and the public hearing, the budget adoption in our packet. And I'll read the dates for you. It's May 14th at 4 o'clock will be a budget workshop. May 15th at 4 o'clock will budget workshop prior to the airport authority meeting. May 21st at 4 o'clock, a budget workshop. June 4th at 6 o'clock is the public hearing, and June 7th at 4 o'clock is the budget adoption. This is in our packet, and the recommended motion is to approve the June 4th date as the public hearing and approve the other dates for the budget workshops.
Motion we approve the public hearing and dates for the workshop.
Second.
Got a motion second, any discussions?
I want to take opportunity to thank Steve for his hard work. And I know it's been a struggle. I'm sitting in your office and I'm looking at all those numbers on the wall, and I'm just sitting there like, it's a lot to do, and I know that, and I appreciate that.
Thanks, sir. A motion second, any further discussion? I'll call for a vote. All in favor of the question, raise your right hand. Any opposed, likewise. Thank you. Gentlemen, the next item on our agenda is 18-1634. This is first going to closed session for attorney-client, NCGS 143-318-1183. Look for a motion to go into closed session. Second. Motion second. Any discussion? We have that our attorney, our county manager, and our clerk will be attending that with us. We have motion second discussion. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor of the question, raise your right hand. Any opposed, likewise. We'll go to closed session in the adjoining room, and we'll reconvene out here. We're back in session. The next two items on our agenda is 18-1645 with the Vaya Health Fiscal Monitoring Report, and item 18-1622, the tax collection report for March 31st, 2018. Both these items are on our agenda for information only, and they're there for your review. Last item on our agenda is to adjourn.
So moved.
Now, motion second, any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor, raise your right hand. Any opposed, likewise.